Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get going so we can get through this stuff. So we've been talking the last few weeks about fixating more on the mental side of things versus the technical aspect of playing volleyball. And one of kind of the recurring things that's been coming up is um, self-talk. And so this lesson is going to be about self-talk, but it's also just going to be about language in general and kind of the power of the words we use to each other and to ourselves, and um, basically different motivation factors, and also how it directly affects performance. So you should be seeing my screen right now. And if you just look at the bottom right there, it just says that research shows that the words prime the brain for action. And so this was just a snapshot of a study that I had read about how exactly words affect performance. And so the first thing that we're going to do is just a little bit of an exercise. That's why I'm sharing my screen. So what I want you to do is I'm going to pull up this here. So here's a list of 18 words that are basically research proven to demotivate you, to get you to perform at a lower level. So I want you to look at the 18 words, and then I want you to write down 5 of them that you think either stand out to you, or you associate, relate to them, or you might think that these words in particular are words that you may look at one of the words on here and think like, well, I don't really ever hardly hear that or say that. So try to pick 5 words that you think you hear in your life, whether it be volleyball or not. So I'll leave that up there. Write down the 5 words. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing here real quick. You should have got it. All right, so Colby, unmute yourself.
Can you please reshare the screen, please?
Okay, I'll reshare it for 30 more seconds.
Okay, that's enough time.
Lassitude. Oblige.
Does anybody need more time, or are we good? Just chime in real quick if you need more time. Otherwise, I'm going to shut this down in like 5 seconds. Okay, so Colby, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, you know why I picked you first, because we hung out today, right? I was surfing this morning and I saw Colby in the water.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so Colby, what are the 5 words that you wrote down?
Okay, I wrote down annoying, tired, useless, draining, and boring.
And why do you feel like those words stuck out to you?
Well, annoying because I realize that I say it a lot, and sometimes about other people and teachers. And so I feel like that's giving them a negative connotation. Tired because I hate when people say that they're tired, especially like before a game, and they're like, I'm tired, and I'm like, dude, we're not gonna like play well if you're tired. Anyway, I also said useless because like saying something is useless, that's just very demeaning, and if you're saying that to like a person or teammate, it's not helping at all. And draining because I feel like I can be kind of draining sometimes because I talk a lot, and do a lot of things that are annoying. And boring because I do not like doing boring things.
Nice.
Thanks, Colby. Let's see. Sophia Sletton, unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi. What are the 5 words you chose, and quickly, why did you choose them?
I chose annoying, sleepy, boring, and draining. So annoying because sometimes I say things are annoying when really like they're actually like good for me, and then also like people. I chose sleepy because sometimes I can be sleepy and just like not want to do something when really like I should like try my hardest at it. I chose boring because sometimes the things that are the best for me are boring, so you have to like work like harder and harder at it. And then last one was draining, I think, because like people don't like to get like drained and tired, but like it's sometimes it's healthy to just be like super tired and like work out as hard as you can.
Cool. Thanks, Sophia. Let's see. I'll go Jill. Jill Land.
Yeah.
Okay, same thing. What are your 5 and why?
I put down tired, exhausted, asleep, boring, and draining. Kind of because just I use like all of them when I don't want to do something. Yeah, that's basically
Yeah,
it.
because all 5 of yours seem to be kind of pretty closely related.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll pick one more person. I'll go. You know what? I'll go a coach. Did the coaches do it or no?
Nope.
Sam, you did? Yeah? Okay. What'd you do, Sam?
So I wrote down the negative words that I use with myself the most, and mine were annoyings and like basically tired. I saw sleepy first, so I wrote down sleepy, but then I saw tired. And I use them when I feel like extremely to that point, and annoying. I feel like I feel that way when I'm tired and also when I'm hungry. So I know the root of these issues, and once I feel these things, I think I do a good job of like recognizing, okay, I'm feeling this way. What do I need to do to stop feeling this way and like get out of it? So I try and recognize them in myself as quickly as possible. Do you want to share yours, or do you want?
I would add one. You suck. Okay.
Yeah,
I was really surprised it wasn't on.
very low motivating phrase.
Awesome, Mike. Good job.
All right. So
I'll drink to that.
So obviously, like any word that is on this list is going to be. One second.
I saw that. Annika, what are you doing?
Any word that's on this list is going to be a demotivating type of word. I wrote down the 3 that I heard basically from everybody. Well, maybe not from you, Sam, but all 3 girls I called on said boring and either draining or tired, some version of that. And then Jill, I don't think you said annoying, but Sam, you said annoying. So 3 out of the 4 people said annoying. And I'm sure if we went across the board, we'd probably get a lot of words that would kind of pop up a lot. And so let's just dive into those 3 words in general. And I think kind of the thing that I want you to think about the most is when you're feeling whatever emotion it is that's causing you to call things out as annoying or boring or draining or tired, how much of that experience is in your control and how much of that experience is outside of your control. And so you take something like annoying, we all say that, and we all genuinely feel like things are annoying, but I would make a case for, I don't know when the last time that I classified something as annoying, and that helped me deal with that scenario better. Because what do you want to do when you call something annoying? You want to cast it off to the side, and you want to remove it from, whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is that you're experiencing. And sometimes you may be able to omit annoying things out of your life or out of your current situation or the current moment. But there's other times where if you're in the habit of calling things annoying, or I would phrase allowing things to be annoying to you, which turns it back on yourself in terms of how much power you have over it. Habits are anything that you repeat to do. So if you repeat the word annoying a lot and you find yourself calling things annoying a lot in your life, then I don't think you're necessarily going to be able to distinguish between the things that are annoying that you can remove and the things that are annoying that you can't. And it's not going to help you deal with the things that you can't immediately omit out of whatever situation you're in. And then there's no way you're going to deal with that situation better. So you're trying to equip yourself with as many skills as possible, with as many words as possible, to be able to get through things that are on the tougher side, or on the, I don't really feel like dealing with this right now, or I wish this wasn't happening right now. I wish this would go a different way. I don't know why this is happening. All those things kind of classify, and you could refer to those as annoying, but like we said, using that word is not going to, especially if you allow it to fester, is not going to help you deal with it. Tired is something that we all experience as well, but along the same lines. How many times are you tired and you're actually so exhausted to the point of depletion that that word is justified? And how many times are you tired because you don't choose to be a different way? The body wants to be comfortable. And so anytime that you start to see a little bit of discomfort come in, whether it be in your head or in your body or whatever, your body is, or your brain is going to try to get you back to comfort as quickly as possible. And usually it's a lot earlier than you actually need to get back to comfort. Your body doesn't really need to rest. Sometimes it does, but a lot of times that we classify things as tired or draining, it really isn't, draining or making us tired to our full capacity where you would have zero left in the tank. And so you might even have more power than you think over those kinds of words. And the last one is boring. And I think that one is especially something that we should go over, because I know in my coaching, I definitely get the sense sometimes when we're working on stuff that my players are perceiving things to be boring. And I'm not trying to be boring, but I might feel like at any particular time that I need to break something down and get you to the point where you really understand it. My kids do it to me all the time during their homeschool, where, or like Curran this morning was working on a writing assignment, and he just wanted what he handed to me to be good enough. And he wasn't excited about the fact that I wanted to talk to him about not only go fix it, but this is why you need to go fix it. And he might have classified my spiel about it as boring. Nevertheless, he went back and he retooled it. And the next time he turned in his work, it was a much better product than what he gave me the first time. And so going through those moments, you need to decide when you're classifying something as boring, you need to put it through a filter of, is this boring because I don't feel like listening to it? And is that about my coach or about my teammates or about my teacher or whatever is going through? Or is that more about me and my mental state right now, and the fact that I'm not really receptive to what's going on, and that's causing me to label this thing as boring and not wanting to participate? And it could go in so many different ways. We obviously use the practice. The word boring, I will always remember this for the rest of my coaching career. I had a girl, like, I don't know, 9-10 years ago when I first started coaching. We were on the second day of a 2-day tournament at the end of our season. and we played really poorly on our first day. And in the middle of our second match on the second day, the girl wasn't playing well. She was our libero, and she obviously had a bad attitude. And I asked her what was going on, and she said, "Well, we should have done better yesterday, and so this is boring to me, so I don't care." And what do you think my response was, Eric?
Go sit on the bench.
Take it further.
Get out of the gym.
Yeah, get out of the gym. I sent her home. If you don't want to be here and you want to say things are boring and you want to bring the entire vibe of what we're doing down, then there's the door. And maybe that was harsh. Maybe if I had it over again, maybe I might try to reason with her. I would like to think I'm smarter than I was 10 years ago as a coach. But ultimately, that's stuck in my mind that because it was boring to her, she was going to sacrifice the performance of the entire team. And it didn't matter to her whether other girls on the team were trying hard to do their best, regardless of where we were going to finish in that particular tournament. She thought it was boring, so she was content with sabotaging it for the rest of us. And maybe she wouldn't have articulated it that way, but that's definitely what she was doing. And obviously, you guys would all see as how that was something that wouldn't be acceptable on any of your teams for any of your coaches that are here at Rise. Okay, so let's switch to negative. Let's switch gears. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to put up 18 positive words. We're going to do the same exercise, and I want you to write down your top 5 positive words that resonate with you. You guys all see it? Yes? Okay. I've got 7:08 on my watch. I'll give you till 7:10. Okay, 30 more seconds, guys. All right. Gracie. What were your 5 words and why?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I put effort, motivated, energetic, perseverance, and joy. For effort, I think just putting a lot of effort on the court, it makes a difference in your game, and staying motivated to put effort in. Being energetic just gives off a good vibe for the whole team and people on the court. Perseverance, is just a big thing in like life. You can get a lot farther with your game in volleyball. And joy because I don't know, just being happy and having joy and giving out that to people can help.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, you can go ahead and mute yourself again. Caitlin. Caitlin, you there? Emma?
Yeah.
Who is this? Is it Emma or Caitlin?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. This is Emma, right?
Okay.
Are you guys
Yes.
are you guys together?
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you just why don't you both?
Okay, I didn't know if you could hear me. I'm sorry. Okay. Here, okay. I put effort, energetic, motivated, active, and improve. So effort, like we just like have to give it like our all, and yeah. For energetic, like it makes the team like get like hyped and like we like come together. Motivated, like we have to want it and we have to want to do our best. And active, we like have to stay active so we can like do our best. And then improve, like we improve when we try our best and when we give it our all. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. You can mute yourself again. Ilani, what are your 5?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So my words were effort, energetic, energy, improve, and desire. And I feel like I always have to have energy and be energetic on the court, on and off the court, no matter what, just to help support the team. Effort to 110% of the ball, practices and games through it all. Improve to keep striving and not just settle for being at one spot. Desire I put was to have the desire and like mindset to always just go and try my best no matter what.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead and mute yourself. Thanks, Ilani.
You're welcome.
All right, so I got the word effort 3 times. I got the word energetic 2 times. I got the word improve twice. And then some of the other ones were joy, desire that I wrote down. But what I wanted to highlight about effort and energetic is that they're on the opposite spectrum of draining and tired. So when you're deciding to talk to yourself, you have 2 choices that are not slightly different. They're massively on the opposite spectrums from each other in terms of what you choose to say. So if you're in a situation that you could choose to deem as draining or tired, you need to be talking to yourself and you need to be saying words to yourself like effort, energetic, energy, desire, because if you start saying the tired and draining types of words to yourself, that's exactly where you're going to go. But you can make a different choice. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of having more power in the situation than you think you do. And then improve or desire, I thought those were great words because we could attack annoying and boring with improve and desire. Are some things that you do on the volleyball court, at practice, in games, potentially annoying? Yes. Are people potentially annoying to you? Of course, right? There's nobody on this planet that you could spend at some point enough time with that you couldn't classify as, their behavior being annoying to you in some way or whatever, because we are all different people, every single one of us, and we express ourselves differently, we think differently, and we have different motivations, all kinds of stuff. So you want to ask yourself during those moments, if you're allowing yourself to use a word like annoying all the time, well, if a situation or a person is annoying, you might replace that word annoying with difficult. And then you can decide, okay, I'm not in an annoying situation. This isn't an annoying person. This is a difficult situation. This is a difficult relationship with someone, or this is a difficult moment with someone. How am I going to improve this scenario? Or what ultimately is my desire here? Is my desire to be annoyed and play worse and hurt my team? Or is my desire to push through this difficult moment, find a resolution, and move forward so we can get to a better outcome as a team? And obviously I know that what you guys would all answer, if I were to just poll you guys all, which one would you do? But the fact of the matter is we're all imperfect. And there's times that we let ourselves go negative when we could choose a different path. And I think just you guys being conscious of that and thinking about it, and the next time you in your internal dialogue want to label something as annoying or boring, or you want to label how you feel as tired or draining, that just take a moment and pause and decide whether or not you want to continue going down that path or whether you want to go a different way. Basically what it comes down to is the motivating language, those words that you guys chose, whatever your 5 words are, those words are going to prime your brain for performance. So you're going to perform better either in your activity playing volleyball, you're going to perform better in your relationships and how you deal with people on the court, with the overall vibe and energy that's coming off of you. All those things are going to be primed by motivating language, and all of those things are going to be diminished by demotivating language. And a lot of our examples, I think we were talking about, probably our heads go to what happens on the court at practice or in a set or in a match. But also we need to be careful about how we use these words overall. So what's the language like in your car on the way to a tournament, or on the way home from a tournament, on the way to practice, on the way home from practice? What is your conversation like when you're talking with your teammates outside of the scope of practicing, or maybe your friends outside of volleyball? You guys are all in school and you have friends that aren't on your teams that don't play volleyball at all. What are the words that you use to describe volleyball to them? Overall, the more you use the motivational words and the language, and just pick those 5 words that you chose off your thing, it's not just that it's a short-term fix in that moment in a game, it's also that there's a long-term positive consequence for using that language more often, because overall you'll just be using more positive words with yourself. And then, or you could do the complete opposite of that and use those negative demotivating words more often. And I know you're probably going to laugh, but what I was thinking about before I was presenting is that last night I was trying to train my dog a little bit more, and I was having fun with her training of seeing how far she needed to be away from the piece of meat that I put down in order for her to be able to obey the command, because there was a certain point in time where if I put the food too close to her, she just could not resist the urge to go after it no matter how much I asked her. And if I just moved her like 6 inches further away, she was able to resist and, obey those commands. And the only reason I say that is because I know in your heads you want to resist the negative talk, you want to resist the negative language, or you might think that you could build up an immunity to it. But if the amount of negative language that that you allow in your head or you allow in your talk, wherever it might be, it's just to a certain extent where if there's enough of it, you just don't have a resistance for it. There's no way that you could fight all that negativity. You'll succumb to it every time. But the opposite could occur as well. You could set yourself up with an environment that's using positive language, so that you don't ever put yourself in a situation where you're going to go negative, because your willpower to not be negative is gone. And that's something that you can train, and that really speaks to using it in all aspects of your life as much as you possibly can, because that's the only way to where it's really going to be something that's kind of ingrained to you, to speak a little bit more positively and just have more positive outlook in general. Whatever the verbal messages are consistently in your own self-talk is usually a product of what is said around you. And so all the words that are used, that you allow to be used directly around you all the time, that's most likely what your self-talk is going to be. So if you surround yourself with positive language, your self-talk is going to be positive, most likely. And if you surround yourself with negative language or demotivating language, then your self-talk is going to be negative. And that's powerful to know, because you don't always feel in control of the thoughts that are going through your brain, but you are, to some extent, or to a lot of extent, in control of the language that's used around you and the way that you allow conversations and words to be used around you, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I'm going to use a different sport just real quick. So let's see, this one's actually a golf quote. I didn't pick it, but it works for me because I always use golf anyways. So on the golf course, someone might say, crush that ball down the middle of the fairway, which is the grass. That's right. That's the best place to be. So you're either saying that to yourself or someone else is saying that to you and giving you the positive image of just nail that ball straight down the middle of the fairway. So that kind of a phrase will prime the motor area of your brain to do that command. Now, you may or may not pull that off, but there's no question in the science that you will have a better chance of pulling it off using that kind of language. Just like if your thoughts are, don't hit the ball out of bounds, then what you did was essentially cut off the prime, you disengage from the motor areas, and all you're left with is this disconnection between the instruction that you wanted to give yourself and the thing you thought about, which is out of bounds. So now there's no connection to the positive behavior that you want. There's only the thoughts of the negative direction and the thought of a manifestation of that negative direction. And all you can think about is the negative activity. So that's all that's on your brain's mind. That's what's going to happen, right? So Macy, let's apply that to volleyball. So give me an example of something that you would want to say to yourself or say to a teammate on the volleyball court that you think would prime their brain or your brain to have the right kind of response.
I would say something just like, if we've missed like 2 serves in a row already, for the person that's going up to serve next, just be like, hey, just get this serve and you got it right here.
All right. And what do you think a negative thing to say to that person would be? And it's not always something on purpose, but just being conscious of.
Well, like if I was serving and I'd be like, if a person told me to get my serve in, then I'd start thinking, what happens if I don't get my serve in? And I start thinking all this negative stuff. And then I like start getting overwhelmed and I'm like, I'm going to miss my serve.
Okay. So you could say something like, you know, nail that spot, or let's see that vicious float serve that you have, or, you know, nail that girl on the other side, or whatever it might be. But as soon as you start talking about being conscious of missing your serve, there's a bigger chance that things are going to go negative.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sarah, give us one more example of that, both sides of it.
If somebody has hit
the ball into the net like the past few times. Like you can go up to them and like tell them something specific, like encourage them and say like, oh, just reach and snap, instead of like saying like, come on, get a good hit, or like get it together.
Yeah. Okay. So just reach and snap on that ball. And that way you're just focused completely on what you're trying to do. Coach Mike Moss would be very happy with that, since that's probably the words that come out of his mouth the most in my experience with him. So reach and snap are his 3 favorite words.
That was exactly, he was like whispering it. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Hold on. So just a little thing that I want to add on to that and just geek out on it for a second. So I read this statistic in this study that was interesting to me, and I didn't actually know this, but a negatively primed instruction also slows down your processing time. So this would apply most likely to your self-talk, because you're probably not giving each other negative cues. I hope you're not giving each other negative cues on the volleyball court, but let's just think about this within the context of our own self-talk. If you have negative self-talk before you make a play, and I think one of the things that is easiest to equate this to is serve receive, okay? So a negatively primed instruction to yourself would take the brain about 1/10 of a second to process the shift mentally from the image of what not to do versus an image of what to do. Meaning if yourself, so it's not negative like I suck, it's a negative in terms of I'm thinking about what I don't want to do versus what I do want to do. So you might, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, or like the most general thing of what not to do, you might just say, don't shank the ball, right? So we definitely don't ever want to tell ourselves, don't shank the ball. That's maybe the worst thing that you could say to yourself in serve receive. You want to give yourself something to do, but it could even break down any further than, you know, don't hold my arms this way, or don't do this, because that time that's going to take for you to shift from the image of what you don't want to do, and then you're going to process the ball, and then you've got to come back to what you do want to do, you've lost ground. Okay. So in this particular study, they cited baseball. So they said 1/10 of a second doesn't sound like a lot, but a fastball from a high school pitcher reaches home plate in 4/10 of a second. So a hitter primed with an instruction of what not to do now has only 3/10 of a second to make a decision about that pitch that's coming in versus the full 4/10. So they lost 25% of their time to process that. Now we know in volleyball, serves don't take longer than 4/10 of a second. But the thing about baseball is that you're standing in the batter's box, you know generally where the pitch is going to go, right? And you know where the pitch is going to end up. You know the depth that it's going to end up. Wherever you start in baseball, you don't have to move back or move up as the pitch is coming to you. So in volleyball, you're going to process where the serve is going and how deep or shallow that ball is going to land in the court within probably the first 2 to 3/10 of a second that ball comes off the hand of the server, right? Maybe halfway between them and the net on their side, you're going to already be processing, do I need to move left? Do I need to move right? Do I need to move up? Do I need to move back? And so if that's only 2 to 3/10 of a second and you lose 1/10, you may have cut your time in half for being able to process it. So it's not that the ball takes overall a second or maybe a second and a half to get to you. It's the fact that you have to move to this ball. And it doesn't matter that if it takes a second and a half, if you lose those first 2, 3, 4/10 of a second initially, you guys aren't going to be able to get into as good of a position as you could if you didn't lose that time. And so it's important for you guys to prime yourself with good thoughts in that moment. So I'm just curious your guys' feedback, what you think might be a good thing to say to yourself and serve receive. So I'll pick you, Lola, since you're a libero and you serve receive a lot.
Well, something I usually say to myself.
I can't hear you. What's that?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Josu, you're saying you can't hear either?
Can you hear me now?
No. Okay. Kate Duffy.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Okay, Lola, mute yourself real quick. I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Is this Kate?
Yeah.
Okay, Kate. So what do you think would prime yourself in a positive way to receive the serve so you don't lose those precious tenths of seconds?
I think what I do is try and like visualize myself doing like a perfect pass.
Okay.
And then it kind of helps me do a better pass.
Okay, absolutely. So you give yourself a pause, so you don't have to switch from a negative mental image to a positive mental image. You already started with the positive mental image.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Madison, what about you in serve receive? Mattio.
Could you repeat the question?
What would you say to yourself to try to prime yourself in a positive way before a serve comes over the net?
If I shank the last one, I'd be like, shake it off. You got the next one. Brand new serve, brand new pass. You got it. Just kind of stuff to clear my mind of the last pass, or even just clear my mind of what we did in the past and just focus on that serve and the pass I'm gonna make. So.
Is there anything you could say to yourself specifically to prime your movement, do you think?
Well, if like you're in the middle of the game and you can see the like servers like tendencies, like where they usually serve, or if they're picking on you or not, and what side. I don't know, just like make sure to like move your feet. Don't fall. As Joe says, I fall like a tree sometimes, so don't do that. Move your feet, get under the ball, and keep your knees bent, and then have a good contact and angle the ball to the target.
So Coach Joe needs to probably not say don't fall.
Well, no, it's fine.
Well,
It's
way to throw your coach
joke.
under the bus, Maddie. Okay, all right.
Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Lola, let's come back to you and see if we can hear you this time.
Okay, can you hear me?
Barely. Can you scream?
Okay, so what I would do, like in a serve receive pass, I usually picture and envision myself passing, right? And I almost can like feel when I like before the ball comes, I can like feel it, and like I can feel myself making like good contact, and then like watching like a good play come off a good serve receive pass that I passed.
Gotcha. Okay, good. I think too that there are certain things that you can cue yourself to do. So I know when we watched those videos and watched that presentation from Dustin Watton, the libero that we did that presentation with, and he was big on the split step. So I think a big reason why the split step works is not only does it physically prime you for movement by getting you into an athletic position to be able to move. If you're thinking about making sure that you split step before the ball comes, you're thinking about something that's a positive movement for you to make, especially if you start to correlate doing that split step or whatever your pre-passing routine is, whatever you do right when the ball is struck by the server. If you start to relate what you do to a positive outcome of how you're going to pass, then just thinking about that thing that you're going to do before she serves it or right when she makes contact with the ball is already going to prime you for better movement, because you're setting yourself up for success, because not only are you maybe doing something that helps you move better and react better, but you're also doing something that sets you up mentally to not waste that time and to be able to pick up on that ball as quickly as possible. So a lot of the stuff that you guys talked about in regards to that is can be kind of like resiliency talk. you know, like Maddie was talking about, like, you got this, next ball, this is a new serve. And that absolutely has a place. So does not being too technical with yourself in those moments as well, and not saying things like, hey, don't shift my weight too early, or hey, don't, you know, make sure I don't hold my arms like this, or whatever it might be. So you want everything to just be moving forward and be positive as much as you possibly can, especially in that scenario. And because passing is the hardest skill in volleyball to do consistently over time. And so if there's any time that we need everything at our disposal to be good at it, to prime ourselves for the best performance that we can get, is definitely in serve receive. Okay. Okay, guys. So appreciate everybody's feedback. Hopefully that all made at least a little bit of sense to you. I really want you to think about those things, and especially those lists that we made in the beginning. Whatever those words are that you wrote down in both of those categories, they obviously resonated with you for a reason. So let's take the negative list of 5 words and let's get those out of our vocabulary and use those words as little as possible. And let's make sure that the positive words that you wrote down, that you get those into your vocabulary. So we're going to have a new session on Thursday. It's not going to be like, you're not going to have homework related to this particular presentation on Thursday, but you do have homework in the sense that I want you to be conscious of those words, and I want you to try to use those positive words as much as you can over the course of the next 3 days, and try to fit them into your language as much as you possibly can in whatever circumstances that you're in, especially because we're in kind of a negative circumstance a lot of time. And so we can really use these words right now. Words like draining and tired are going to be really detrimental to us being able to be productive during this time, when it's so easy for you guys, if you're anything like me, to just shut down and sometimes not want to do anything. And I know, like this morning when I got up to go surf, my alarm went off at 7. I did not want to get up and go surf at 7 o'clock this morning. I wanted to stay in bed and I wanted to sleep longer. But what I told myself, because I had already prepped and I want to practice what I preach, I told myself, if you go surf this morning, surfing always gives you energy. You always feel better the rest of the day when you surf in the morning. And so if you want to have a good day today, if you want to have lots of energy for the day, then get out of bed, go surf. It's going to make the rest of your day better. And guess what? I had a really productive day. And maybe it wasn't the salt water itself, or maybe it was, but it was certainly the act of making that conscious decision and talking to myself that way in the morning, I think had an impact on me having a productive and good day today. So maybe I might call on you guys just real quickly in the beginning on Thursday and just see if anybody can highlight a moment that they had where they feel like talking to themselves in that way kind of made an impact on a moment in the day, a situation during the day, or maybe their whole day. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. Happy Monday. Happy Cinco de Mayo tomorrow. And I will see you guys later. Okay. All right. Bye.